One of the first and most popular upgrades Mustang owners do to their new car is to install a set of lowering springs. At Brothers Performance, we offer lowering spring kits from a number of manufacturers, including Eibach, BBK, and Ford Racing. Today we're going to be installing an Eibach Pro Kit, which includes all 4 springs and a new pair of rear lower bump stops onto this 2013 V6, but the installation is the same on all 05 and up models. Eibach offers 2 types of lowering springs for the 05 to 14 Mustangs. The Sport lines, which offer around a 2-inch drop all the way around, compared to the Pro Kit seen here, which is the less aggressive of the 2, giving us approximately 1.5 inch drop in the back and 1 inch in the front. Let's go ahead and get started. With the car up in the air, remove the wheels. Remove the bolt at the back that holds the brake line to the bracket, as well as the clip for the ABS line. Next, disconnect the sway bar from the strut assembly and then remove the nuts that retain the strut to the spindle. Then go back and remove the nuts from the strut top, and now we can remove the strut. Next, we need to remove the spring from the strut assembly. You'll want to get a spring compressor tool to get it safely off the strut. Once you've got the spring properly compressed and it's no longer leaning against the strut, you can remove the strut nut and remove the compressor. Now we're ready to put the new spring onto the stock strut. Make sure that the spring is seated properly all the way onto the strut, pushing the end all the way up to the edge. Then install the strut mount, again keeping in mind to keep the edge flush with the spring end. Keep in mind that in some cases you may not need to use the compressor to get the lowered spring onto the strut. Once you've got the assembly into place, tighten the strut top bolts down just enough to hold it in place. Lift the brake assembly into place and reattach the strut assembly using the factory bolts. Reinstall the bolt for the brake hose bracket, then clip the ABS line and finally reattach the sway bar and tighten down the nuts at the top of the strut tower. After reinstalling the wheel, repeat the process on the other side. Now we're ready to work on the rear springs. The first thing we need to do is support the rear axle. After that, remove the nut and bolt that holds the sway bar into place so that we can access the bolt to remove the rear shock, which will allow us to remove our spring. After lowering down the rear, remove the original spring. We're also going to need to replace the lower bump stops because the original will allow the lowered spring to bottom out too easily. Put the new spring into place, leaving the bottom end of the coil towards the back of the car. Now jack the rear end back into place until the shock lines up with the hole. Slide the retaining nut in the back and slide that bolt through. After repeating the process on the other side, you can reconnect the sway bar and complete the installation. Our Eibach Pro Kit gave our 2013 Mustang the look that we wanted. The car sits flat, it's nice and low, and the wheel well gap is almost gone. Best of all, it's going to give us a huge improvement in handling. Here's a list of the torque specs necessary for this installation on the 05 to 14 Mustang. For more information, click the box above. Don't forget, we can do this job for you here at the Brothers Performance Installation Center in DeLand, Florida. Call for your appointment today at 800-486-2681. You can also check out all of our premium Eibach spring installation kits online by clicking the link or visiting www.brothersperformance.com.